Hello Flosstube, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel and another Flosstube episode. This is Flosstube number 79 and it is April 7th, 2024. I hope everyone has had a wonderful week. I am here to talk about my stitching updates for the week. So this week I have a bunch of new starts. You probably saw the intro title card, whatever. I am naming this Flosstube episode, What Would the Sweetwater Stitcher Do? And you can probably guess, it's a new start kind of video. I had a finish and I've been working really hard on the upcoming FLOSSIVERSARY seasonal BISCORNU stitch along that starts April 17th. And I was at loose ends, maybe that's how I should say this, where I just needed to maybe do something different. I had a bunch of stuff I wanted to start, and I usually try to talk myself out of those things. And then I thought, who cares? I only need to make myself happy. So I actually just started some things. This is what I am calling, I hadn't intended this on January 1st, but I'm calling it my year of dimensional finishes because I'm really drawn to dimensional finishes this year. If you chatted with Kathy Haberman and I Wednesday evening, we talked about her designs that we are using for the seasonal BISCORNU SAL, and she made reference to that during the video, which was super fun. And I encourage you, click right here, go watch that interview with Kathy. She talks about her inspiration for the triple play basket designs that we are making into a BISCORNU. They are not BISCORNU patterns or charts. They are square charts that she made into pillows and that I am using to make BISCORNUs and that we are going to make BISCORNUs with for the SAL. It was a wonderful talk. She is so inspiring, and I hope if you watched it, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you haven't checked it out, I hope you will check it out. So that being said, I had some new starts. I have some things that I finished up. I do have an FFO. I am going to give you the second sneak peek for the seasonal BISCORNU SAL. Now, I want to talk about that really quick. You're more than welcome to start now. The SAL does not officially start until April 17th. That is when I will actually start on camera stitching a summer basket. I am going to stitch I'll pick one of these to stitch. I'm actually going to stitch all three of these, and we'll talk about that when we get to that part of the video today. But you are more than welcome to start stitching now at any time. You can choose any of the seasons. We've got winter. I will have a sample for that. That one maybe I might share next week as we're gearing up and almost ready to start. We have the autumn, which I have already shown when I announced the SAL that I've done one of these. I do plan to actually stitch at least one more of these just because I love them. And then of course, the summer, I am going to be stitching all three of these. And again, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. And then we have spring. Now, what I loved about this was I felt like that way you could choose which season you wanted to stitch into a BISCORNU. I will be talking it through step by step. Now, I know there have been some questions regarding the SAL, and a lot of them I'm getting the multiple questions. The SAL actually hasn't officially started. Most of those questions will be answered when the SAL starts. I am going to be putting out an email today with some extra information, with some things that if you're going to go ahead and get started stitching, maybe that would help you a little bit. BISCORNU assembly will not be shared until that finishing video, at least at this point. There may be an early access. I haven't decided if I get all my ducks in a row yet for Patreon, but I will let you guys know about that if that works out. I'm not going to promise that, is what I'm saying. But otherwise, that will all be shared during the finishing video, but I will be giving in my email newsletter some tips and tricks for getting started for some things that I have had a lot of questions, like how much border do I leave and that kind of thing. But actual assembly, I am not going to be answering individual questions about that, because that's why I'm doing the SAL, and that's why I have a finishing tutorial, which will be available. I believe that's May 15th is when that video will go up. Now, email newsletter. I'm really excited. I did spend some time this last week. You guys, most of you know this, but if you're brand new, welcome. I am a full-time paper crafting content creator / kind of now moving into the cross stitch and paper crafting content creation. But because of that, my email newsletter has mostly been geared towards my paper crafting audience. But it's a great way to connect with you guys. And I feel like I've had several, like a handful of requests from people wanting information on the SAL delivered to their inbox. And I thought, that would really be great, because not only can I give the full detail there that may not be easy to find in Facebook, you may not be a Facebook fan, etc. So right now, I have separated my email lists. It has a drop-down box, and I am going to put a link down here in the description for you guys to join my email newsletter if you would like. In the drop-down, you can choose paper crafting with Nichol Spohr or stitching with Nichol Spohr, or you can click both. If you like both kinds of content, you will get emails that are directed towards both of those audiences. So what I'm excited about is I do have some extra information as this SAL goes on, that if you want that delivered to your inbox, I think that would be great. Like weekly check-in, weekly updates, talking about backstitching the border and what that measures, that kind of information. And I am going to be sending out, like I said, the first one on Sunday, April 7th, or Monday, April 8th. It will be somewhere in there. And it basically will be the full SAL information, because you still have plenty of time to grab your charts and your materials, your threads and your fabric and things. No special tools required. Plenty of time to grab those things and join us for the SAL. Now, that being said, you can join any of my SALs at any time. I do like to do mine in an organized fashion, and that is only on my end. I always want to, make that known that from me, you are going to see what I say I'm going to do each week. And then you will see the finishing tutorial on the day it's promised. But for you guys, you can work at your own pace. Do whatever you want to do. So I always want to encourage that, but I just like, as the host, to make sure that I am fulfilling my promise to you guys and delivering content that hopefully will encourage and inspire you in this case, BISCORNU creation. So that being said, join my email newsletter. If you want to get, periodic information, I will let you know if I'm teaching anywhere, which I do have some things coming up that I will be teaching. You'll get to know if there is content. I will let you know when there's new tutorials. I will let you know when my room tour is ready, things like that. So if you want it to come to your inbox and you would prefer that rather than social media, check that out. I'm also going to be creating a tier in my Patreon for stitching only. I don't exactly know when that will be released or when that will happen, but it's going to be more of exclusive content, early access content, behind the scenes things, that kind of stuff. But there will be more information on that coming soon. So right now, join my email newsletter if you haven't already. I know a lot of you have. I put it up on social media late last week, and look for your first email newsletter coming from me very soon, Sunday or Monday. Okay, let's jump in to today's episode. I didn't think I had a lot to share, and I was talking to a friend about it, and then all of a sudden I was like, wow, I do have a lot that I need to share this week. So we're going to jump right on in. let's talk about FFO'S. This week, as I mentioned, I do have one FFO. I actually have my second BISCORNU. I started with fall as a little teaser and to hopefully inspire you guys and show you what you're going to walk away with at the end of this SAL. I promise that I will have every season represented in the stitch along when that starts. SAL does stand for stitch along. In case you're brand new to stitching, welcome. We're happy to have you. I finished spring. If you watched the Stitch with Me with myself and Kathy of Hands On Design, you saw a sneak peek of me stitching this. I was almost done. I finished it up. I'm going to flip the camera around and we're going to talk about it. Okay, so if you watched that video, and again, that is linked down below, you will know that I changed the colors. So let's grab the chart. I did not intend to switch the colors of the spring basket for this BISCORNU. However, well, in fact, I bought all of the floss, you guys. I bought plenty of the called for fabric for this, which is what I did use for the autumn one. However, in stitching the spring folk chart, which is, let me grab it. In stitching spring folk, I thought, I am going to finish mine on this paddle by 141 design, and I thought, wouldn't this be cute tucked next to it with some florals, with a vase, with other spring things, with a bunny. Now I know Easter is over as of last Sunday. have been pretty honest. I'm going to enjoy Easter probably throughout April before I start bringing out patriotic and things like that, or bees, or all the summery charts. I love this. I changed the colors. I used all of the same colors that I am using in the spring folk. I kind of had to adjust things a little bit. In the video with Kathy, I did talk about in the chart, I stitched this one, that these 4 flowers here in the center, you'll see 3 are yellow and 1 is purple in the example. Let's hold that a little closer. See how she did hers so that it's just a little off center. For a pillow, that's great. For the BISCORNU, even if I had stitched it in these colors, I like that when you're looking down at the top of it, you're seeing pink, and then you're seeing the little bits of yellow out here to the sides. Now, this, I did alter my stitch for the second piece of fabric. This is one of the questions I got a lot during that Stitch With Me chat. How many pieces of fabric? You do need a top and a bottom. That is going to be something covered in that email newsletter I send out. So you'll need 2 pieces of fabric, 1 to stitch the top, 1 to stitch the bottom piece. Now for mine, I actually altered this design. It is not exact. I kind of mirror imaged one of these flowers so that it would give me a more uniform look. And I changed the colors. So it goes pink, yellow, pink. Pink, yellow, pink. That's how I wanted my BISCORNU. You don't see a ton of this, so I did not want to stitch the whole thing. For me, I know that mine's going to sit. You do want to see a little bit here. In fact, I probably wouldn't have even, I mean, you see a little bit of this. So I just stitched enough that gets seen basically in that little triangle. There we go. Same thing with the autumn. I repeated the same chart as the top for this one, and I only stitched enough that gets seen in that little triangle. I don't want to call it waste my time, but I don't want to spend my time. That's how I should say that. Stitching something that's going to be sitting flat and never get seen. So that is how I do it. Now that is going to mean when you are stitching your BISCORNU, you're going to have to think about that. I originally was just going to repeat like this outer design here, which would be fine, and not stitch the center for my second piece of fabric. I hope that makes sense. We will talk in depth during our Wednesday night Stitch with Me's during the SAL, and I will answer all of your questions on that. But you will need to look at your chart and kind of gauge what you want to do. For example, let's talk about the spring chart for this one. If you're stitching this one for a BISCORNU, I would stitch this, and then for the bottom piece, I would stitch like just the corner and not stitch that center again. Does that make sense? And that's probably what I'll do when I stitch this one. I have plans to stitch this again so that I have a couple, and I'll stitch it on like a small, or you know, like a 36 or a 40, so that I have a couple of different sizes of BISCORNUs. This is 32 count Driftwood by Fabrics by Stephanie. So called for count size, not the called for fabric. It's the called for fabric for spring folk, so that it coordinates perfectly. And that just requires like a little foresight. You totally don't have to do that. That is just what I chose to do. Again, because I thought it would be fun to coordinate. If you're not stitching spring folk, stitch it in whatever colors you want. If now that you see this and you see it adjusted and you weren't interested, because I know some people are not purple people, but you think, oh my gosh, I could stitch mines in pinks and reds, or I could change these colors actually to like reds and whites and blue. You could make this one a patriotic one. Whatever. You can change the color of any of these to work. So if you like the particular style of one of these charts over another, but you don't want to stitch that season, just switch your colors. So that is my finish for the week, is my spring BISCORNU. 32 count pretty much is the size of my hand. These are, the 32 count's pretty big, but both of these are on 32 count. I will be showing examples of 36 and 40 during the SAL. I will be providing all the information on what I used for this in that email newsletter I'm sending out, plus it will be down in the description below. These pins were actually some that I got in the Fanciful Flamingo box that Alicia sent me. And speaking of Miss Alicia, I am doing a Stitch with Me with Alicia, the Fanciful Flamingo, Wednesday, April 10th at 7 p.m. Central. Click that link right there and make sure you hit the notification bell so that you're notified when we go live. We're going to talk about her box. I am going to show you a new start from that spring box. That chart is not currently available. I'm just going to show you what I got started, but we're going to talk about her bi-monthly box. We're going to talk about her retreat coming up, and you're going to get to know her. She is a delight, and I cannot wait to, if you don't know Alicia, for you guys to get to know her, and if you do know her, hopefully to just, you know, connect, chat, all of that good stuff, and find out more about her business and what she has coming up. So definitely join us then. So anyway, that's where these pins are from. You can get pins anywhere. I went to my stash and I thought yellow, pink, done. So it's nice to have a little bit of a stash. Just Another Button Company would also be a great place to go to look for some of those things. So let's move on to, I have one finish. Let's move on to finishes. Okay, this isn't necessarily a full finish, but I like to give myself little wins, right? So little wins are, last week I was almost done with this, and I did actually finish it last Sunday evening, so I still finished it in March. I finished my hands-on design and Just Another Button Company chalk squared March block. Now I'm not adding my buttons until I'm completely done, and I am going to insert some photos at the end of this video where that Mr. HOD took of Kathy while she was talking to me during our Wednesday night live, and she had intended to actually show me her finished piece. This was a I don't know if it was mystery, but I believe it was a stitch along several years ago. I bought this whole thing even kind of before I even knew all about this. Well, yes, way before I knew about the Flosstube world. I was wanting to get back into cross stitch, and then I've talked about this through my videos. I struggled finding the right fabric. I struggled, I changed my fabric a couple of times, and anyhow, I dived back in this last year because this is one of those things I kind of splurged on at the time. I remember thinking, oh my goodness, this is kind of a lot of money. I didn't really know a whole lot about jumping back into this crazy cross stitch world. And I bought everything because I fell in love with the finished piece. So a lot of the questions people were asking, and I'll show you what I have stitched so far. I hope that's good in frame. We're asking, can I just stitch the center? So this actually comes where you buy the center chart and then you get the outer border chart free. So you can stitch just the center, which I have already stitched, and that can be all. You can stitch the individual month designs on their own. Kathy shows them here on the chart, finished in little tartans. You can stitch those on their own as well, or you can do what I'm doing. I want this to be a big full finished piece. Kathy has hers as a big finished piece. She told me one time that it hangs in her house and she walks by it and it makes her smile every day. That is what I want. It's just so beautiful. It's really beautiful and I'm excited to see it. So I wanted to hold that up and show you. It is not new at all, but I know I've seen several of you stitching this or jumping in and stitching it. Just start. That is my advice for this piece, is to just start. If you think too much about the size of it, it's overwhelming. If you just start, you're golden. You will be fine, and break it down. I stitched the center, and then I made all of the boxes on the outside. Check out my end of last year, end of 2023, first of 2024. If you want to hear the drama of me trying to do that running stitch, that was a personal problem. I don't know, but I got her. I got it done, and now I have boxes. It doesn't take anything to fill them in. I will have all of the white scroll work to do on the outside. I mean to do a little of that every month. I haven't fulfilled that yet, but that won't be a big issue. So let's look at the finished March, shall we? Okay. So I did end up finishing March. And how beautiful is it? With all of that white in there now, it is so pretty. And I mentioned this last week, the color pops in with the ladybug button and the little red buttons, but I just love it. This is March to me. So, so pretty. And now I'm ready to move on to my April block this month. Having little assignments every month is working really well for me. And so I know that's how they did it when this was released. I don't remember exactly how it was. I actually bought it when the stitch along was done. I do know that. I had seen a finished piece probably on Instagram or of some sort, and I was like, oh my goodness, I have to have that. And I think I'm going to start cross stitching again. That was my thought process. But I know these were stitched monthly. And so I'm just trying to keep up with it all through 2024 so that at the end of the year, I can go get this finished or framed. So that is my March finish. I did share that on social media this week, but I love it. I am stitching it on 32 count charcoal gray Lugana. I chose to do Lugana instead of linen. Somebody asked why I thought Lugana was harder to stitch on. I think it's tighter than linen. Linen for me is a little easier to find the holes to line up. But that's personal preference, you guys. Everybody is completely different. I'm stitching with all the called for Gentle Arts threads 2/2. Funny enough, I prefer stitching with one strand of floss, but this is 2/2. I forgot to say, this is 32 count fabric. This was 2/2 with DMC. And you've seen this one, but that's 2/2 as well. So kind of funny. All right. Let's talk new starts. Should we do new starts first, or let's do my one whip? How about that? Let's do our whip first. All right. So here is my Spring Folk progress from Hands On Design. Did I intend to have more done this week? I sure did. Did it happen? It sure did not. These are all of the floss. I wanted to bring these. I don't always remember to bring my floss in for the video, but these are the same colors. You can see them side by side now and how pretty that is. I just used the colors from this, and I'm using the called for. This is 32 count Driftwood by Fabrics by Stephanie, 2 strands over 2. This is the Pearl Cotton. I think that color is 642 if I'm not mistaken. I did start the specialty stitches. These gave me, I'm ready for another row of specialty stitches here. These, you guys, I already know this. It's in my head. It is not hard. I messed it up 3 times and had to rip things out 3 times. It's in my head because I got it, and I got it completely finished. So, or that section, and it's beautiful. I love it, but I kept missing holes because you have, it's a satin stitch. It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite specialty stitches for this. I don't have a lot of experience with specialty stitches. I did want to mention that. I don't have experience with specialty stitches. Kathy's instructions are fantastic. She has a video. I am going to link that down below as well. Please go watch that for any help with the specialty stitches on this chart. It is fantastic. Let me show what I actually stitched. So I wanted to get further this week, but work, got in the way. So I got my first row of specialty stitches. I did start at the bottom. So I got this done. I finished a couple little things I needed to do in this section, just the eyes and the whiskers. And I did stitch this whole row of alphabet. That's all I did this week. But I'm calling it a win. I have now this row of specialty stitches and then the rest of this to do. I don't think it will take that long. I'm hoping that I can have a little bit more time this week to dedicate to this and maybe get that done, because I would really like to get it up and displayed at least for a little bit this year. So that is my only whip this week. All right. So here is the What Would Jessica Do segment of today's video. New Start City. I just went ahead and went for it. And you know what? I'm not sad about it. I'm not mad about it. I'm here for it. Okay. So first up is not a dimensional new start. I did mention to you guys last week that I was going to start this. And I did. It's a very small start, but I want to get this going because I also would really like to stitch one of these a month. This is the Little House Needleworks Sheep Virtues. This is the Hope Sheep. And I am stitching on 36 count Milk Coffee by XJU Designs. 1 strand over 2, and I am stitching mine all as one piece. So I have a big piece of Milk Coffee here, and I'm going to stitch 3 by 4 to do all 12 of the Sheep Virtues on one piece. And I've only you can see I've only got part of the frame. This was an hour and 30 minutes of stitching, maybe. I'm using all of the called for DMC. It's beautiful. I was going to switch the colors and then I opted to just go ahead and go for DMC. Whoops, there we go. Super easy. I hope to have this framed out and have some more stitching on it next week. Literally, here's what I did. I set a timer and just went for it. I just set a timer and stitched. So this was, I stitched, or I set my timer probably for an hour and a half, since that's how long, that's where I got to, and stitched this. And then I'm going to show you what I did on the other two new starts as well. So again, this is the Little House Needleworks Sheep Virtues. I will link to the one I'm stitching right now down below. I know I heard from a lot of you who said you also are stitching this or have it kitted or want to kit it and stitch it. So join me. I'm going to be working on this all year long, as well as my Moment in Chalk. I love it. It's something I've wanted to stitch for a while, so I just went ahead and went for it. Also, this is another chart that was kitted up. Everything I'm showing today, I had kitted up. One is a new chart, but I did buy everything when I bought it. It was a market release. But the little, or the Sheep Virtues was kitted up, so all I had to do was start. I have wanted to start this forever. It's Tomato from Hands On Design. I bought this when it was released. I have all of the overdyed floss for it. I bought the called for fabric for it. I bought the finishing kit from wherever, I can't even remember, and I don't have it right here, where it was available. So I have everything for it. I want to stitch this. You guys know I'm into the dimensional stitching this year. I want to stitch, I really want this tomato, but I love how it's a little tray. So the called for fabric is 32 count, which I did choose to stitch on. And I almost have the first part done. That's 2 hours of stitching. That is Flatfish from Weeks Dye Works. I just have the rest of this to do, that maybe 30 minutes. And then the tray is stitched on Gray by Weeks Dye Works. And I'm going to start that next. Where is my floss for this? It only takes 5 colors of floss. So I have my Weeks Dye Works. Like I said, I have this all kitted, had it all kitted up already. I just needed to start, and I don't know why I put it off so long. I've shown this to you guys like probably when I got it, but I love it. I'm going to keep working on this. I want to actually have a tomato project going at all times. There's some With Thy Needle and Thread projects that are tomato projects I want to do. I feel like there, what is that other one? I have several tomato projects that I want to do a whole display here in my craft room. So again, that's Tomato. I'm hoping to have a lot of finishing next week to show you guys. I want to actually dive into my pile and finish some stuff and show you guys some more finishes. I'm feeling like finishing. Okay, my third and final new start this week. I mean, can you guys even believe all the stitching? I mean, it might be small starts, but look at me with all of the charts this week. That's okay. Okay, so I really want to stitch all of these. So I started with the newest one. This is the Spring Green Pears by Annie B's. I purchased everything. It does take 36 count agave linen, so I did buy that. And I also bought the Dinky Dyes, which I've never used before, but I bought the Dinky Dyes for all of the pairs. I bought all of the Annie B's pairs that are out. This is Dinky Dyes in the color Pearl. I just put it on a floss drop here. It's silk. Oh my word. I already knew I liked stitching with NPI, which is the only other silk I've stitched with. I like Dinky Dyes silk. So I started on the Alphabet pair. Here's my green fabric. And here is what I was able to do in an hour. Pretty good, huh? And I am just stitching this. I'm going to finish these all into pairs to use as decor. And again, it's a dimensional finish. I'm really into it, and I'm just going to go with it. I'm a big fan of letting your creativity dictate the direction of your creative or letting inspiration or what you're into dictate the direction of your creativity. That's how I should say it. So I'm going to go with it. I'm going to stitch these, and then, you know, if I'm still digging pairs and want to stitch more, I may dive into some of the others. But I love them. I think they're going to be beautiful decor pieces, and I'm super excited. In fact, I think when I finished, yeah, I just left my floss in here, took my needle out. So I would love to, I think if I sat down, I could have this one done tonight. They're very easy. I think you could probably, if you didn't, like I said, I started all of my new starts in one day. I did all my new starts in one day. I was feeling very scattered, and I just decided, just start them. Start them, you'll have them going. That's Jessica's motto. And she always says, just have it started, because once it's started, it's so easy to pick it up. So what would Jessica do? Go ahead and do the new start. That was my philosophy this week. So that is spring green pears from Annie B's. I love it, and I really love the dinky dies too. Okay, that is my new starts for this week. So I know I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but this is a reminder that my Flossiversary that was last year. My Flossiversary seasonal BISCORNU SAL starts April 17th. That is a Wednesday evening. There's 4 weeks of Stitch With Me, and then a week with a pre-recorded finishing tutorial. What I am asking for this SAL is to choose a seasonal triple plate basket chart from Hands On Design, and Hands On Design has so graciously made these charts PDF. Where they were paper before, you can purchase these in PDF or paper format directly from Hands On Design, or get the paper chart from your favorite LNS or online shop. But the PDF is at Hands On Design, so you can have it anywhere that you are in the world, which is fantastic. A couple of notes. If you are nervous about the BISCORNU, I am going to walk you through it. The finishing tutorial is kind of long. I will speed up part of that final construction after we've talked it through quite a bit, but I wanted to leave it more in real time, more like I was doing it with you in real time, because I think that that's important for the construction. It is not hard. Once you have done one or two of them, I've actually done 1, 2, 3. I've done 4 so far. Once you have done that first one, kind of as you're learning, the second one, you're like golden, and you will just feel it and see it when you start putting it together. No special tools required. I do recommend, and I have in the supplies, and that will go out in the email at 2, but you can see that on Facebook already, or here on YouTube on my community page or whatever. You're going to need some lightweight fusible interfacing that protects your stitches. I just highly recommend doing that. Plus it gives your fabric a little bit more stability. Something that Kathy and I talked about in our Stitch With Me video last Wednesday was fabric choice for a BISCORNU, and we are kind of both excuse me, we are both kind of the same agreement. I personally prefer linen or Aida, but if you are an even weave stitcher, that is okay too. Don't feel like you have to stitch something else. I like, and Kathy mentioned this is when the question was asked, Kathy answered it, and that's exactly what I would say too. The reason I like, and she mentioned she likes linen or Aida better, is it's a stiffer fabric. Lugana generally is a blend fabric, and it tends to be softer. And that softness sometimes just makes it a little hard to manipulate in that final step when we're finger pressing, which you'll see in the finishing video. And if you've made a BISCORNU, you may know that already, but you'll understand that more when I show that in the finishing video. It's not undoable. So if that's your preferred fabric and that is like the only thing you like stitching on, that is fine. It's totally fine. That is just her preference and that is just my preference, but you may be totally happy with that. I always encourage you, stitch with what you love. Stitch with what you love. You're going to love the results, and I promise you guys are going to love the BISCORNU. It is so satisfying. You don't have to have a sewing machine. You don't have to sew anything. It is all constructed by hand. I just would recommend that lightweight fusible interfacing. I have the one I like, will be linked in the email, and I'll talk about it. And then I will link these as well. I like these ground nutshells. I get mine off Amazon. This bag was brand new. I do want to mention this. This bag was brand new when I filled this. That is how much I put in this BISCORNU. Now, I like the crushed walnut shells or lizard litter because it's heavy and it makes your BISCORNU heavy, almost like a paperweight. I know you guys can't feel this, but it's not going to be puffy like a pillow. It's firm. I want it to be firm. I want it to hold that octagonal shape. And I want it to be more of that heavy. So you're going to want to pick some of these up as well to put it together. I usually buy mine in packages of 3. You can get the huge package if you think you're going to be a BISCORNU making queen, but that is how much I use from one bag. This would not make 2 BISCORNUs, one of these bags, because I filled it so full. Now, when I made a 40 count BISCORNU at Christmas time, I am going to pop a picture in right here. It was tiny and it didn't take as much. So I made a 32 and a 40 at Christmas time, and I will be showing you a 36 and 40 during this SAL. But I did want to mention that. So to me, really the only extras you need besides your chart and your fabric and your floss is lightweight fusible interfacing and something to fill it with. Now, if you like polyester fiber fill, you can definitely do that. I just prefer, this is my preferred filling for BISCORNUs. Not for very many things. I've tried using it for pillows and whatnot, and I'm not a huge fan. So let me know if you have any more questions. I am going to cover all of that in that email newsletter as well. I'm also going to cover how much fabric I cut. That again is a personal preference. I like to start with a bigger piece. I mentioned this in that Wednesday interview. Just in case I get off and I don't stitch right in the center, I always like to give myself a little leeway. I know myself. If you are good not doing that, you do whatever, you do you. As Tim Holtz in the paper crafting world says, he always says, you do you. I am also going to take Tim's phrase and say, you do you. Okay. I think that's all I wanted to say about that. It does start April 17th, finishing tutorial, and then it'll be every Wednesday, and the finishing tutorial will be May 15th. And again, sign up for my email newsletter if you want a weekly update throughout the SAL and just an update about stitching things in general. Just make sure if you're only interested in cross stitch that you click that drop down box, Stitching with Nichol, and that way you don't get a bunch of paper crafting content that you don't want. All right. Let's see where we are at now. What to watch? I have already mentioned the 2 things I wanted to mention here. If you haven't watched the interview with Kathy, please check that out. There is a link down below. And then upcoming this week, chat with Alicia, the Fanciful Flamingo. Also a link for that down below. So click that notification bell. Come hang out with Alicia and I. She is hilarious. She has tons of fun, and I think you guys are going to absolutely love her. And definitely, if you watched my video from a couple of floss tubes ago, I'll put it across the screen exactly which one it is, and maybe I'll just link it too, where I did the unboxing of one of her favorite things bi-monthly boxes. The value is amazing, and what you get is incredible. So come hang out with us on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. I already told you about, oh yeah, I already told you about my email list. There's an upcoming SAL that I'm going to participate in. I wish I could participate in everyone's SALs for the things that I want to stitch. I've had to make some hard choices because I'm hosting one upcoming here. And so that is partly why I haven't jumped in on a couple of them. One of them I may jump in late because, if I do, we'll talk about it next week, because I just want to stitch it. However, this one will be starting in May. I will put across the screen right here the actual start date, but I should be wrapping up the BISCORNU at that time. There's a little overlap, but I am going to want to stitch this. I already have everything for it. So let's flip the camera around and talk about it. My friend Shari Moss, who has a fairly new Flosstube channel, she is a paper crafter and stitcher as well, is going to do a botanical bee stitch along during May using this new hands-on design pattern that was released at market. I knew I wanted to stitch this. I already have my fabric. Now, the called for fabric, this is the called for fabric, believe it or not, is a 32 count Juniper by Fabrics by Stephanie. I'm going to stitch mine on 36, which will just make it a little bit smaller, but that's totally fine. I will be using the called for weeks dye works. I think I'm missing a couple. These I already had pulled. I just need to go see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold please. The chart is right on the back. I'm missing 3. So I'll either pull something from my stash or I'll pick them up before this SAL starts. But I wanted to talk to you about this now. I'm also going to link to Shari's video right here, her latest Flosstube. I think she talks about it. I haven't watched it yet. But I noticed that she's going to talk about it. She did post this on social media this week, so check that out. I do think she has a floss conversion to color and cotton or something she pulled from her stash, so check that out if you want to. There are other fabrics close to this color. I know she was giving some suggestions. I personally, Fabrics by Stephanie is one of my favorite companies. If you jump on and get it ordered, I think you should probably have it close to the time. You would probably need to go ahead and get that ordered pretty soon here, because she dyes them to order. But if you have an LNS, you might be able to get some as well. It's worth it. Her linens and her I only have ever gotten her linens. Her fabrics are beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So I am going to be participating in this botanical bee SAL, and I wanted to let you guys know that. Let's do haul. I have just the tiniest bit of haul today, and we'll talk about all of that. So first up actually is kind of stitchy kindness / haul. And that is, there are new charts from Crafty Bluebonnet Designs on April 1st. She released 4 new charts. Hold please. So April and Haley have 4 new charts. I only printed out 2. 2 were month charts. Michigan and California were released. So if you are in either of those states or those mean a lot to you, those are awesome. She also released Sewing Spool Trio Set 2. This coordinates with Sewing Spool Trio 1. And this darling rainbow spool that I know everybody, this one got a lot of love when I did my Stitch With Me with April and Haley. I know like a lot of my paper crafters love that too. So these are both new, and I have linked those down in the description below. Thank you so much, April, for sending me those. Next up, I did get my Floss Frenzy from Fat Quarter Shop. This month's colors: Dove, Dried Sage, Driftwood, ooh, Dutch Iris, and that does look like an iris, doesn't it? Eggplant, those are pretty together, and Emerald. Beautiful, beautiful colors. And I've talked about this a lot. I love being able to add to my stash because it makes it real handy to go to my stash then and pull colors. So that's the Floss Frenzy. And then I know I want to stitch this summer, and I actually thought I had this one. I have the strawberry, the blackberry. I guess I never bought the blueberry when I was putting my others away. So I picked this up because I want to stitch all of these berries from Hands On Design when I do that. So I got blueberry. I also, my friend Shari stitched this, and I never had added this one to my stash. So I went ahead and added this as well. I got Clover and Hive by Hands On Design. It's so beautiful. And I actually have 40 count Friendship Green. I know this is stitched on 32 count, but I'm probably going to stitch it on there. Friendship Green is one of my favorite fabrics by Stephanie Colors, and I love this. And finally, this is a new release from October House Fiber Arts. I picked up Gingerbread Row because it's gingerbread houses, of course. It's absolutely so, so cute. And that is it for my haul this week. Now, I do want to talk about the April specials from Fat Quarter Shop. Okay, so from Fat Quarter Shop this month, the basic of the month is Dainty Dot by Beverly McCullough. And I just wanted to show you guys some of this. So you can see it's on sale. Beautiful basics. And lots of this. There's a lot of it. There's a couple pages of it. So that is the first thing. All right, so that is again the basic of the month. And I have links to all of this down below. The notion of the month is Triangles on a Roll. So I believe Kimberly said in the Friday Flosstube, or not Flosstube, the Friday Live, that Triangles on a Roll only go on sale once a year. So these are the sale, and this is a great time to pick them up if you feel like you need that. Plus, even the book is on sale. So that is a great option for quilters. The book of the month this month is Perfect Fives Quilt Book by It's So Emma. Awesome book. Great. Lots of fun stuff in here. Here's kind of an overview of what you get in that book, and it's $9.79. The pattern of the month is one of my personal favorites, Cluck Cluck Sew. I was going to pull some of these up. I've actually made more Cluck Cluck Sew patterns probably than anything, which is weird because I don't even know why. So fun. They're very easy. I think they're very beginner friendly for the most part. So I'm going to scroll through here. Loads of patterns, you guys. I'm going to show you which ones I've made. I really want to make the pumpkins and the mini pumpkins, but I haven't. Let's go to page 2. I have made juice boxes for a baby gift. I have made skipping squares for myself. It's just down in the basement, so I didn't go get it. And this is actually one of the first quilts I ever like fully made. I even quilted it myself, so it's not the best, but whatever. I know a lot of you like to quilt yours yourself. I'm just not a huge fan. I really want to make this one. I haven't. I have also made, I feel like it was on this, maybe it's the next page. Okay, I want to make some of these table runners. I think the seasonal ones are awesome. I have made, it's on this, I have also made, have I made Sugar Dish? Maybe not. I think it was the Skipping Stones I've made. I have made Tea Party for a baby quilt gift before. I have also done Inside Out as a baby gift. A baby quilt gift. I have also done, it's on this next page. For the longest time on Ethan's bed, he had a quilt that I did that is a, I've made Boardwalk as well. I made that for my daughter a long time ago. But on Ethan's bed for a long, long time, he had this quilt that I want to make this house one. He had, I feel like, oh, here it is. This Arrows. I made him this in the twin size for his bed. It's so cute. I still have it. And I think that's all of them that I've made. So you can see I've made quite a few, and I have quite a few of these. So that again is the pattern of the month. All right. And the notion of the month this month is needle minders and charms. I know some of these are already sold out. This is a great time to pick up any of these if you love needle minders and charms, like I love needle minders and charms. Tons of good ones, Flamingo Toes, Lori Holt, all of the good stuff. Kath Holden for Moda. So, and there's several pages of these, you guys, like 7+. So check that out if you are at all interested in some specials from Fat Quarter Shop. Okay, we've reached giveaways and winner times. I have announced the winners in a scrolling end screen at the end of this video. I have updated it with and removed anyone I've heard from. I've mailed yours out. If I haven't heard from you, you are still included in that end screen. I'll give you another week, maybe two, to claim those prizes before I put them back into the rotation for giveaways. I do have 5 more giveaways this week. Please be a US resident. Please like the video. Please be subscribed to my channel. And please be over 18 because these are physical prizes this week. And I am doing 5 cross-stitch related giveaways this week. I don't have a quilting one. Hopefully I'll have one put together. I kind of forgot to put my giveaways together before I started filming, so I had to go run and do that really quick. So put the number of the items you're interested in the description down below. I do use the random comment picker to choose winners. That being said, please put a 1 in the description if you want the Signs of Christmas chart from Crazy Annie Stitchin' and Annie Bees. This is the Little Elves Toy Emporium. I'm giving this away. You're going to get the zippered bag to put this in, and I should mention all of my giveaways today will come with some extra little goodies that I throw in, like little notions or thread beds, something. It's not going to be the same for all of them. I'm going to throw extra goodies in. So 1 for the Signs of Christmas. I showed that I had 2 of these last week. I didn't realize it. So put a 2 in your comment if you would like Little House Needleworks piece. It is the chart only. No button. If you want to do the buttons, you'll have to go on just another button company and pick those up, or your favorite local needlework shop. That is number 2. This is a huge piece of 36 count Grace Notes Reese, I think it's Reese, linen. I think it's a full yard. I'm sure it is, you guys. Put a 3 in the comments if you would like this linen. 3 for the Grace Notes fabric. Put a 4 in the description if you would like the Quilted Witch cross-stitch pattern from Fat Quarter Shop and Lori Holt. Put a 4. And put a 5 in your comments if you would like some 28 count Wheat Lugana by Zweigart. And I don't know that I've used any of this, and I'm pretty sure it is, if I did, it's only a tiny bit. So it was a full yard. It may still be, but there is a ton in here. 28 count wheat Lugana. Put a 5. Okay, everyone, that is it for this week. I loved spending time with you guys and hanging out. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember, like the video, subscribe to my channel. I love and appreciate all of you so much. I love the comments that you guys leave me. I read each and every one. I love this community and I can't wait for our stitch along to start. Don't forget to subscribe to my email newsletter if you haven't already. Make sure you do click Stitching with Nicole Spohr if that's the content you're interested in, or if you're interested in both, that is awesome too. And stay tuned for that slide here at the end of my video. It will announce all of the latest winners or people I haven't heard from and the Flosstube episode that it came from. And without further ado, I think that's it for today. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, click that like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new Flosstube stitching or quilting video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.